and José Quintana. Without further ado, Billy, here you are.
All right, thanks, Zach. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for taking the time to join the call today. I think everybody's got pretty busy schedules this time of year, and so I appreciate everybody making the time to be here. It's an exciting day for us as an organization, for the Mets, as we welcome three of our newest acquisitions to the team, and José Quintana, David Robertson, and Raley. Some of these guys, or a couple of these guys, I have some personal history with, and David has had a successful history of pitching late in games and in big spots, high leverage situations. His postseason experience and ability to kind of hold down the fort in those moments, it'll be big for our club and for what we want to accomplish. And over the last decade, with Jose, he's been one of the most dependable starting pitchers in the big leagues. He's going to add a left-handed component to our starting rotation. His experience, his durability, his moxie, his character, all of those things are going to provide very valuable depth and experience into our rotation. And Brooks, we talked to him last year, and he's an important addition to the bullpen here. He's shown success against both lefties and righties in big spots, and he'll provide us with another very valuable late game option. So excited to bring these three on board here. So welcome to all of you, David, Jose, and Brooks. We're excited to get you down to Port St. Lucie in due time, but thanks for being on here today. So that's what I got.
Thank you, Billy. We'll begin with you, David.
Hey, all right, you guys got me? I'm very excited. What a squad Billy's put together. It's going to be nice to play with Jose again, and I have a lot of new teammates to meet, a lot of guys I've been playing against for a long time. I finally get to join up with them, and, we'll get to go at it for a full season and hopefully end in the postseason. That's the goal of this squad. I think that's the goal of any team. I don't really know what else to say other than I'm excited to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to being at the back end and helping out whenever I can. I know that we got a great ninth inning guy, so it'll be whenever I get called upon, I'll mix in there and pitch and do my best to hold down the fort, like Billy said. And we got a great squad, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, David. Brooks?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to echo what David said right there. And obviously, Billy, thanks for the formal introduction. But yeah, really excited to join the team. Like you said, last offseason and being a free agent, we did have some conversations. And at that time, I don't think Buck was in place yet. So a lot of things have changed there, a lot of good things, a lot of things that that's accomplished this past season. And really excited about joining the fold and back into the bullpen and whatever role that kind of expands into as the season progresses. But really excited about wearing the Mets uniform.
Thank you. And finally, Jose.
Hello, guys. I'm really excited to be a part of this team. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Mets organization, to give me this opportunity where everything started for me as a kid. So that's really a special moment for me and my family. One more time, I have a chance to play with David. And I can't wait to meet all my teammates in Port St. Lucie when spring training start. I'm really emotional to be a part of a huge rotation when a couple of those guys are signed young. So I can't wait to start the talk with Dan and start the race together. So I'm really excited in this moment, and let's win it. So I think this is the goal, and this special thing, and let's do this. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Jose. Remember, if you'd like to ask a question, please use the raise your hand feature. We'll begin today with SNY Steve Gelbs.
Hey guys, this is essentially for all three of you. So maybe we just go in that same order with David, Brooks, and then Jose. But this offseason, you've all been a part of an historic, really, by this organization and pushing a payroll to the limits, a place that we've never seen in the history of the game. I guess just curious of your overall thoughts of what this has been like to be a part of, and what type of commitment you see from this team to winning in the immediate.
Okay. For me, it just shows that ownership wants to win. You look at the payroll and what they're putting out there, and they're trying to get what they think are the right guys. And I'm glad to be a part of that group. They want to win. I want to win. Everybody wants to win every year. I think that, sometimes you have to put out a little bit more money to get the players that you want, that you think are going to fit in, and get the right staff in control of that organization. And, I think it just shows a lot about our owner. He's committed to it. And what else can you say? We're going to get down there and we're going to get to grinding and get ready to play.
Brooks, do you want to
add? Yeah, obviously, I think it was a heck of a last week. I think there were some obviously big acquisitions with the two in this chat and JV, and I think this NL East as a whole has just gotten a lot better. The Phillies proved that this past season, the Braves, and I think this division, I think you have to go reload if you really want to compete. Coming from the AL East, I think that it's very similar, and I think it's part of the sport now that the best players, the contracts are obviously fruitful, but I think the team that's been put together here is special, and I'm really looking forward to kind of see it all come together and being part of it.
And Jose?
Yeah, I think I'm really, really glad to be a part of a team like this. I think our honor try to show something, and it's really, really special to be a part. And the goal is right there. So everybody wants to win, and as soon as the spring training start, we need to be together and start that race. So it's a really exciting moment. Postseason is a cool. And everybody that wants to be there. Everybody knows how hard is our division, but I think we have all we need to do it. So as I think be healthy. This team is gonna be the huge part, and ready to jump to the field when the time's coming.
Thank you. Our next question will be from Mike Puma from the New York Post.
This question is for David. I just wondered, as somebody who came up in the Yankee system, had immediate success, won a championship with the team, proved he can pitch in New York, how much has that served as a basis for the way your career has kind of blossomed here moving forward?
Sorry about that. I'm new on this. I accidentally muted myself. But no, yeah, when I came up with New York, that was a long time ago. But yeah, I feel like I got thrown right into the fire, and I had to figure a lot of things out very quickly, and then very quickly kind of moved into that back end role with the Yankees. And every season was a playoff season for the most part, and I had a lot of guys behind me. That my job was just to get the ball to them. So I never really thought about anything else other than just go out there and do my job. It doesn't matter how big of an atmosphere we're at. Every game you play in New York, no matter whether it's at home or on the road, you had a huge fan base. So you get used to playing in those big atmospheres. So when the postseason came around, it seemed like it was the same thing happening again. And it was just, for me, it was just go do your job. I try not to overthink it and let too much happen. I can only control what I can control, which is throwing the ball.
And I would imagine you've crossed paths with Buck Showalter numerous times as opponents over the years. So what's it going to be like playing for him? And just what do you think of Buck?
I've always admired Buck, especially since seeing when he came down to Baltimore and took over that organization and turned it around and, made it really difficult for us to win at the time in the AL. He's a great manager. He seems to know how to do everything the right way, makes the right calls at the right times. And I think that he's a great fit there, and we'll be able to utilize the bullpen in the best way he sees fit.
Thank you.
Next question is from Tyler Kepner with New York Times.
There we go. Hey guys, congratulations to all of you. Good to see you, David, in particular. I want to ask Billy, how do these moves sort of fit with the ultimate goal, obviously winning a World Series? Because you couldn't have done a whole lot more last year other than play better at the very end. You won 101 games. So how do you try to kind of figure out how to take that final step, and how do the three guys on this call and the depth you've added help you do that?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we got to get into the tournament, at the end, and that's in and of itself going to give you that opportunity to advance to a World Series and ultimately get an opportunity to win one. So look, if we can sign up for that number of wins again next season, you offer me that right now, I'm in. That's the second time in franchise history we've been able to do that, or the second most wins in franchise history. And so, but just getting into the dance, having the starting pitching and the bullpen, is going to be critical for us to be able to kind of silence some of the other teams and the offenses that you face in the postseason. And then we'll continue, and we'll have some more press conferences coming where we talk a little bit more about some of the offense. Just getting a chance to get in late and be able to play in October is really all you can ask for, and you take it from there. So that's it.
In terms of the pitching depth, with Jose and David and Brooks, did you think that was something that was particularly important with two of your top two starters being veteran guys who might need a little extra support?
Well said, Tyler. Good approach. Those, look, it's like you're trying to manage for two different seasons, right? We're going to go play 162 games in 183 days or 4 or whatever. And then we're going to get into if we do well there, you get an opportunity to get into the postseason, and where you're managing and utilizing personnel in a little different way than you did over the course of a season. So having depth is critical. We're going to use a lot of players. I hate to say it. I'd love to sit there and say we're going to use 26 the whole season. That's not a reality. I think over the last decade, you end up using somewhere between 48 and 55 players, maybe even a little bit north of that, because you're going to get put into situations where you're having double headers, or you're going to need spot starts, and it turns into an all hands on deck kind of situation as we grind through a schedule. So having that depth is going to be critical for us to ultimately get where we want to go, which is October baseball.
Next question will come from Mark Rosenman.
Good morning, guys. Thanks, Zach. I have a question for each of you. I'll start with David. David, you're joining a bullpen that has one of the best closers in the league in Edward Diaz. In your 14-year career, you've had so many different roles, obviously starting with, one of the best back then, Mariano, later leading the Yankees in saves, last year leading the Cubs in saves, and your short time with the Phillies, third in saves. How much of that experience in the different roles over the years can you share with guys like Brooks and Drew Smith and some of the other players the Mets will be bringing in for this bullpen? And, why New York as opposed to someplace where you could have been the team's primary closer?
Let me answer your last question first. I've never been a guy who really cares when I pitch. Like for me, I want to win, and sometimes there's somebody who's better suited to be at the back end than me, and that's fine with me. It doesn't bother me one bit. I just got to get the ball to that guy because that's what he's there for. I don't really worry about it. I'll throw the first inning to the ninth. It doesn't matter to me. But over time, having the experience or having the opportunity to play with a lot of really good players like Mariano, you watch those guys day to day, and you see their routines, and you see how they go about their business, and how they don't let one day affect them the next day. If they have bad outings, you never notice that. I've always tried to be that guy that just does what I'm supposed to do and doesn't get too upset about it. I mean, like I'll be the first to say I do get upset at times, but I try not to bring it into the next day or take it home with me, because it's a hard game and you don't always come through in the end. You don't always get the job done, but you try to every time. That's the biggest thing for me. And I'm sure, I can't tell you how many times we've had a conversation with guys in the bullpen and we just sit there holding a baseball, and you say something that, clicks for you, and then it might click for them. It might be the dumbest thing you could think of how you hold a seam or a grip or something, and a guy throws it and catches, like, I've created a new pitch now, and they go out there and they make it work for a few months, and it really elevates their game. I mean, there's many times where small things like that have helped out players, and that's kind of where I come in. I love to talk about baseball. I love to be in the bullpen and just kind of hash things out with guys and hear about what they're thinking. And it's nice to be able to have an opportunity to go to a team where, I'm going to try to be as helpful as I possibly can in any way I can. But I mean, it doesn't matter to me that I'm not throwing the ninth inning.
Thanks. Next, we'll go to Dave Lennon with Newsday.
Hey guys, just for the three of you, and I know Brooks, you came over in a trade, but just with David and Jose, what is it like to, the perception of the Mets as far as, with the new owner and the money they're laying out and the people the players they're going for? I mean, from a player's perspective, does that just mean the Mets have to be a team that you always have to talk to, or just always be kind of in demand of a place to go to? Because it really wasn't always like that for them. I was wondering how much the perception from a player's standpoint has changed and kind of led to your getting there as well.
Why don't we start with you, Dave?
Oh, okay, got it now. Yeah, I mean, my perception of the Mets is really good right now. I mean, going into this offseason, you see all the moves they're making. I mean, they want to win. I want to win. I'm not getting any younger. I want to be on a team that wants to win. I want to be in a competitive city and a good market, and that's what the New York Mets have to offer. And I've always enjoyed playing at Citi Field, and it's been a blast. So I'm very excited to be a part of this organization at this exciting time.
Jose?
Yeah, it's really excited time. I think all the moves the organization make already is show something. So I think everybody's talking about us, and that's fine. So we show something. We want to win. Like David says, I'm not gonna be younger anymore. So it's time to win. And this is the perfect fit, perfect team. So we have everything in here to show that. So that's great, and I'm really, really glad to get this opportunity coming here.
And Brooks?
Yeah, I think it's about winning, right? And obviously being traded over and having the conversations we had last year and seeing the steps that the organization's taken, not only this year, but last year, and bringing back the guys that they did in Nemo. And, 101 wins is nothing, I mean, what a knockdown drag out it was down to the wire. So it's cool to kind of watch that. And, I feel like we have one of the best closers in baseball, and having played with Presley there for a little bit, and then watching, David this past postseason was fun to watch, and knowing that his expertise and skill set will definitely, kind of breathe life into the bullpen and great conversations. So, as a whole, I think the Mets perspective, to answer your question, is definitely a place, a destination. I think a lot of guys have taken notice, and the Mets market is obviously as good as any, and you want to play on a big market team at the end of the day and win and do well in a city like that. So I think a lot of us are really excited.
Thank you, guys.
Next, we'll go to Tim Healy, also with Newsday.
My question, I actually have a couple of questions for Billy. I was wondering, last off season, you guys made a bunch of moves before the deadline of, at the time, the impending lockout. Last week was similarly eventful and a bit of a sprint in a long off season. I was wondering what forces were at play that kind of led to that burst of activity. You don't always see that sort of stuff in the off season.
Yeah, the market seemed to be really maturing. With kind of a little different position demographics kind of, around the same time. So, as I'm, going through conversations with a lot of players, representatives and, in David's case, directly with David, just trying to stay in tune and stay on pace, and whether it's texts or phone calls. And as I'm getting signals that, hey, Jose is close to making a decision, or even with Eric Neander with the Rays, like, hey, we're gonna execute something probably in the next 24 hours. It's it just kind of creates that that moment where you need to kind of put your best foot forward or stand down. And so obviously in a couple of these cases, our best foot was good enough, and we were able to add these three.
And then it seems like a lot of the heavy lifting for the offseason roster building is done. What is your assessment overall of what you've done so far and what might be to come, or how much remains?
Yeah. So, we have done a lot of lifting, and we've had a very fortunate investment from Steve and Alex Cohen in this club. This, again, I know I've said it a number of times. I'll continue to say it. Like, the commitment is very evident here, and the goals are very evident. So, a lot of the heavy lifting is done. It doesn't stop us from being opportunistic. So if there are, acquisitions we can make, whether it's in the trade market or if it's in free agency, and we still want to explore those, always just kind of keeping our antenna up. And, when something presents itself that makes sense and is a worthwhile investment and can move our win projection or move our run scoring or our run prevention in particular, leaps and bounds, I'm gonna take that to Steve and gauge his thoughts on it. So, just kind of remaining opportunistic is probably the best way to frame it and think about how we're going to approach, the next couple months before we go to Florida.
Thank you.
Next up is Will Salmon with The Athletic.
Hey, Billy, similar question to Tim, but with Brooks and David added to your bullpen, just kind of wondering where things stand with that group, and in your estimation, how much is left to be done with it? You were facing obviously a huge task with kind of rebuilding the whole bullpen there.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some interesting, talented players out there in the marketplace. So I'll stay engaged there. Some of the moves that we've been able to make, and even some preemptive ones, whether it was the John Curtis signing last year, or the trade with the Marlins that brought over Brigham and Eliezer. Having some of our players returning, some of our young players that got to jump into the pool, and some swam pretty well in the deep end last year. Having some of them returning and watching their maturation and see how they develop into 2023. So feel good about the group and how it looks as a whole. But again, if there's things that present themselves that we think really help us on the run prevention side, we have to be open to it.
Back to Mike Puma.
Yeah, for Billy, I was just wondering with Quintana, how much, you had Peterson last year as kind of a part-time guy in the rotation, just what it means if having a full-time lefty in the rotation was something that was important to you.
at the end, Mike, it's kind of a separator, but it's not, any kind of internal, mandate that we carry into the wintertime and say we have to walk with a left-handed starter. I mean, I think that it's nice to provide variability and be able to attack opponents in different ways. And there could be circumstances where we try to pace, rest or usage kind of based on an opponent if the schedule allows and the off days allow. But it's kind of more Jose's, demeanor, his experience, his savvy for doing what he does and doing it at an extremely high level and for a long period of time. That's what drove us there more than the hand he throws with.
Thanks.
Well, Billy, thank you very much for taking the time. Once again, congratulations, David, Jose, and Brooks. Welcome to the New York Mets. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time today. And we'll see everybody tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Citi Field. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.